Good, the bad, and the guilty is recorded live with the men and women of law enforcement. All suspects are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Now, here's your host, Iredell County Sheriff Darren Campbell.
Everybody, welcome to Good, the Bad, and the Guilty. Our guest, we're going to be seeing in just a second. First, thank you for listening. Thanks for tuning in. If you are, turn us on Facebook, X, LinkedIn, YouTube,
Facebook, yeah, 100.7 works real good.
We're easily accessible.
Well, and we are so easily accessible. Apparently, we've already got a few watching and listening to y'all.
We've got some texts from people. I'm gonna carry a lot of weight. They've seen y'all, and so we're glad. We'll introduce our guests here in just a second.
Yeah.
But y'all, as you probably listen, it's gonna be the fastest hour you have in radio on a Wednesday evening. So, Bill, we gotta give a shout out to Harrison's.
I love our sponsor. That's right. They do make this possible. And you know, the really neat thing is that we have the ability, Sheriff, to talk about various topics and various things. And Harrison's is always a great supporter of law enforcement, a great supporter of everybody that supports law enforcement. So let me read their thing, and then we'll talk about how to go down and get your stuff.
We'll see if they wear some boots.
Yeah, Jeff needs some. Todd's looking sharp over there with some loafers this morning. Well, y'all go to Harrison's. Let's talk about Harrison's.
Great place to shop.
From the job site to the rodeo to the backyard hammock, Harrison's has you covered. They're the Southeast leader in Carhartt and air yacht workwear, and nobody has more in-stock work boots, and that is true. That's been true since they started sponsoring us. They can get you ready to go boot scooting from Western favorites like Cinch, Rock and Roll Denim, and Wrangler. I'm more partial to Carhartt, but that's just me. Visit their Mooresville location or shop online at harrisonsusa.com. Harrison's, for home, for work, for Western, and wow.
And for representatives.
The first thing I want to say is we got the names backwards on there. This is definitely not Todd Carver.
You got to pay him $20.
And I am definitely not Jeff McNeely. So yeah, let's switch.
Hey, it could be worse. Had me as Matt Burleson one time. So
well,
it could go worse.
I'm happy with where I'm at right now.
Y'all,
you know this story, huh? You got a story and you know it. So
yes, exactly.
Well, first of all, about Harrison's. Yes, y'all got to go. Harrison's got everything you need. Go shop, buy some boots, breeches, whatever you need. Cowboy hat, knives. I can't think of that, belts.
And with the weather changes coming, it is October. Winter's going to be here right before long. Go down, get you a Carhartt. I got to go down. I've already been told by my son, Dad, I need a new hoodie. Because apparently the thing, and your boy's going to do the same thing playing football. Yeah, apparently the thing is when you go work out, get all sweaty, and then you got to walk back to your dorm when it's cold, you got to put your hoodie on. But you got to cut the sleeves out of it first, apparently. So I've already been told I got to go this.
Get a 24-year-old girlfriend.
and I'll tell you from a parent's point of view, then when you do cut them sleeves, come on and lay it right there on the chair as you come through, and don't take it no further.
No.
Just let you know.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Todd,
so I got to go to Harrison's this week, spend some money.
I'll assure you, they do grow up and leave, and good times are coming to you boys. I'll tell you, it's
well, you know, my daughter, like I said, you know, she's at Meredith and Addison. Todd, you know her. Jeff, you know her well, and she's down at the General Assembly, so y'all see her. So she's down there 2 days a week, I think now. So she enjoys it. So y'all see her more than I do, really, when you're down there. So, but I do want to say I appreciate both. We were honored today to have both of y'all here as North Carolina House of Representatives. Todd, you're in the 95th. Jeff, you served the 84th. And Todd, I knew Todd forever. Bill, you and I both.
Mm-hmm.
We worked with Todd for years and years.
Sure did.
Trained him to be all he could be.
That's right. It's kind of like taking a baby bird and letting him go.
Yeah. And then here he is back.
And here he's back, right back in the nest.
And Jeff,
last 9 months I've been deprogrammed.
Jeff, I've known you and your family since I was road patrol. Even before that, being West Side and out at the Milling Company. And I appreciate both y'all's service. I know it's tough in the General Assembly, and I know we try not to bug you. But I will say this, and I'll say it for our senator as well, and Mitchell, who's not here, is we have some great representation in the House and the Senate here, especially supports law enforcement. Now, you know, we're all about that. So
it's nice when we all work together.
It is.
We all come together. You know, if we've got a question about something that's going to impact us at the jail or the court system, you know, we can pick up the phone and call you, call Bill, and get an honest, straight answer on how that's going to impact folks all across the state just by how it's going to impact us here in
It
Iredell
does. It
County.
means a lot to us.
We've texted many times while I'm sitting on the
Many
floor
times.
getting ready to vote.
Absolutely.
Getting ready
is.
to vote.
And it's really fun if
And I
you,
can't type fast enough sometimes to keep up because I'm trying to watch it, and Bill will watch it.
So for those of you that may not know, you're able to go on to the General Assembly's website, and when these gentlemen and ladies are in session and they're in committee meetings, those are televised on the internet. So depending on what hearing it is, we'll actually be watching live at the office.
Start laughing because I did it with him at the school board too.
And Sheriff Campbell will type, "Scratch your nose if you hear me live," and you'll see him go. So, but you know, and here again, just again, I echo what Sheriff Campbell says, but I just want to say thank you to both you gentlemen, to Senator Sawyer and to Mitchell Setzer. I was trying to get his Speaker Pro Tem to give his actual title for constituent services. I constantly, when I call down and need something from y'all or have to ask a question, it's not like, well, you know, we'll get back to you in a day or two, Sheriff. I know, especially whenever you call down, it's we'll give you an answer. It may not be the answer you want, may not be the answer you guys can give, but at least you get an answer. You're not left on hold, or you're not waiting days and days. And the people I've talked to around that have contacted you gentlemen's offices and Senator Sawyer's offices for constituent services, you always get an answer. There again, you guys you don't sell ice cream, you don't make everybody happy, but you will give somebody an answer. So I want to say thank you as a taxpayer and thank you as a representative of the Sheriff's Office for the working relationships and the way y'all interact and get us information back. So thank you for that.
And it's good for us. Y'all do. And Harrison, I did say what I was going to say about Harrison's. You know, it's odd to have business backs law enforcement, and they definitely do that. So I want to throw that out there. And Todd, and I'll say, with y'all having you former law enforcement, you get your name throughout a lot, especially in our association meetings, because you got Charlie Miller, you got Purtle, you know, you now, and I'm trying to remember.
They got a new
Dudley
name.
Green.
Got
Carson Smith, former
Yeah.
sheriff. I mean, and we should remember from Mecklenburg, former trooper.
Oh, God bless. Carol and
Logan. And I was a partner with her, went to Duke leadership for him. She was my partner, my buddy, so I got to learn. Hey, she was good to work with, former trooper, but she was my partner the whole time. So
how long did it take you to tell you she was a former trooper? You probably knew it before you walked in.
Not about 2, yeah, because
she'll spit that out in a heartbeat.
Sheriff Keith Stone says, "Hey, I trained her. Lean over and get her to do that." Yes, so yeah, she told me pretty quick. So with that being said, and y'all just give you the way we play, watch that. We'll take a break when it comes down, and I guess now y'all say something. We bragged on you enough, and just before we come back from our first break, introduce yourself.
Yeah, so tickled to death to be here from Iredell County, but down in Mooresville, I represent the southern end of the county, and then Jeff's mostly the northern end, and 2 precincts that Mitchell has over on the west side in what Falls Town type area.
Shallow B.
Yeah, and so just happy to be here. It's an honor to serve, to be able to sit there and have the right to push that green or the red button, you know, and just to try to do our best to represent what we can, you know, the best deal we can possibly get for folks back here at home. And that's good. I know that's what's on my mind, and that's what's on Jeff's mind when we're up there considering measures just before the General Assembly.
Yeah, like I said, I'm agriculture, I'm transportation, so I don't play on the judicial committee like Todd does, but, you know, always looking to figure out some way to help law enforcement do their job, make it easier, safer, get them home to their family at night. That's it. I want whatever it takes for them to be able to keep us safe and keep them safe.
And y'all are helping with stuff. We'll take a break. We'll be back about 2.5 minutes, and we'll get into what we're hearing, some of the new recent House Bill 307.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much again for tuning in today to The Good, the Bad, and the Guilty. We are honored to have two of our North Carolina House reps here. I'm tickled to death having my boss, Sheriff Campbell. I was out last week kind of under the weather, and I think you were kind of busy doing some sheriff business last week. We had Matt here kind of running the show.
You took a cruise to the Bahamas, laying out in the sun.
No, sir, I wish I'd have been on them.
That's that sent you home sick.
I had the plague, believe me, according to thank you to Urgent Care for taking care of me too. But for those of you that may not know, our two special guests today, we have North Carolina House of Representatives District number 95 Representative Todd Carver and North Carolina House Rep for District 84, Jeff McNeely.
In the right chairs.
For those of you that were watching and wonder what happened, musical chairs occurred in a commercial. CJ took charge of the situation and said, boys, y'all got to switch chairs. So now they are in their proper chairs. The proper name should be under them on our Facebook feed. So tickled to death. Again, thank you guys for being here. And I know you guys were talking about some stuff way over my head during the commercial. So, Sheriff?
Well, let's step back. First of all, if you're in law enforcement, if you're parent, grandma, cousin, brother, wife, brother, sister, whatever, listen to this, because I think, and I'll say, this wasn't what we was going to get into, but back to blue legislation that popped up in the Senate last week under when some of the thing that the big bill that Josh Stein just recently signed in the 10th day, the last minute, whatever. This was something that popped up inside that bill before it comes to the House. So I'll let y'all explain, because there's a lot of law enforcement that listens to it. I understand it, Bill, I think, or we understand it. But I think it's a good opportunity. People may not understand why it's not just, hey, where's that rate? Where's that we was talking about that they read about in the newspaper? So either one of y'all.
A lot of people aren't going to believe this, but when you go to Raleigh, there's a lot of politics involved. And so anyway, this is what happens. If we get over there or get down there to vote on Irina. I think that's how you pronounce Irina's law. I always want to slaughter her first name. Sorry, ma'am, you're passed. But we get there, and all of a sudden, out of the Senate, we call it catfish. They gutted a bill and stuck stuff in it, and wanted to send us back this bill called Back the Blue. Cool, we like it. It's pay raises. What it is, though, is it's going to work outside of the budget, and basically, in my opinion, looking at it, it took the House budget numbers that we sent to the Senate after they sent us a horrible budget, and made it into a little mini bill to get funding for salaries to law enforcement, highway patrols, everybody, sheriffs, you name it, the whole 9 yards, everybody. And what's going on, y'all, I'm sure he cares about law enforcement, but I think Phil Berger cares more, and he's the senator pro tem of the Senate, cares more about himself because he's got an ex-law enforcement, ex-sheriff running against him.
Current sheriff.
Yeah, current sheriff. Still, I thought he had stepped down.
Sam Page, 26 years.
Well, then current sheriff, which is even more critical, running against him. So he's got to come up with something since he doesn't have a budget to make him look good, especially with law enforcement. So he's trying to counteract all of Sam's connections by throwing more money at him, saying, "Hey, I'm more for you than anybody." So this is the House may not move real quick. We want them to do a budget. We don't want political shenanigans. We want a budget. And if it takes that to get him back to the table, we may wait a little bit. And we don't want that to hurt nobody's feelings. And we know everybody needs a pay raise and wants money. But in the end of the day, in the long run, this will help you more because Senate's going to go right back to their stuff.
Todd, you were talking about what would cause this, what would make this work.
This is a budget fight. It's a budget battle we really need to get worked out. And so the way I've been trying to explain this to folks is just imagine that if you had, at the state level, if revenue was at about $30 billion, then you were going to have a personal income tax rate of, say, 4%, just for nice, easy numbers to understand. Now, if you get, say, to $35 billion, it's going to drop to 3.75%, and if you go on up, it's going to drop to every one of those revenue marks would be they call them a trigger. Great idea, and this was something that was done in previous General Assemblies 2 or 3 years ago.
This is why we got a budget. We would have got a budget 10 if we had if Tim Moore didn't agree to do this with Phil Berger.
The problem with it is there's no account for inflation. So your 2023 number of $30 billion is not going to do the same amount of work for you in 2025 or 2027 dollars.
And every person out here is buying groceries for their family, clothing, or
they
children.
understand
They understand
exactly what I just said there.
Right. Absolutely.
And so we've got to do the same thing for our state budget. And all we're asking, all that I think the speaker is asking for, and I don't want to speak for him, but is for there to be a cost of living, the inflationary to make that adjustment so that we can account and get as much work done with the taxpayers' money as we possibly can.
It would almost seem like it's common sense.
Well, if we gain $2 billion in income, we'll lose $3 billion in taxes. So the more successful we get, the more penalty
More
we
hurts
get, the less tax. And so by 27-28 budget, they had us in the black at about $2.5 billion.
No, in the red.
I mean, red, excuse me,
Yeah,
red.
you're in the hole.
Gotta get the stuff. Gotta get the
About
stuff.
a $2.5–3 billion shortfall.
Yeah.
So this year we're okay.
That's under current spending
This year
levels.
we're going to be okay.
But those are going to be reoccurring costs.
But that is coming. It's coming. And if we don't get it dealt with, there's going to be no back to blue money. There's going to be no anything money because we're going to having to trim programs. I mean, imagine on out at 2030 and 2035.
Absolutely.
If you don't fix this, you're going to be stuck with that same amount of revenue that you were dealing with back in 2023. Seemed like a really good number.
It's a great idea. We're going to lower income tax personal and lower business tax personal. That's awesome. But we haven't decided we're going to raise sales tax or anything else.
There's
So-
nothing to take its place.
So next thing you know, we're running around talking about casinos and all kind of other stuff to get revenue out of and betting and everything. So we're having to do all this because we're cutting the tax. And I don't want to pay no more tax. I know none of us do. Then we have to.
Right.
But there is that thing of a functioning government.
Right.
And we're a growing state. If we were not a growing state, it'd be a different talk.
Weck, we'll talk. Look at our population here in the last decade, 24 point.
Yeah.
24.4%.
And crime
I mean, the
rate's
whole
gone
state's
down.
grown.
That's what you
56%. We're going to talk about that here.
That segues all about
The whole-
right there.
It is.
The whole state's grown because we got
That's
an
a good
extra
one.
congressman. I mean, a congressperson. Had to be a man this time, but congressperson. So this is not the right move for North Carolina. Not right now. And if you want to go ahead and increase the sales tax to make up the difference, that's fine. But in inflationary times like we got, there is no more crushing tax on the poor or the lower income people than increasing the sales tax. So you're really punishing them. Now, there may be a lot of people out there say, they don't pay no tax, yada, yada. I can't help that. Right now, I don't care what anybody says, there's at least a 10% or more inflation rate. They don't take in the food, they don't take in the gas, they don't take in a lot of stuff in their equation. But I can tell you right now, money ain't going nowhere like it did just a few years ago.
Well, that's just like,
And this ain't is not a finance show, but you look at it, they reduced over the last year 150 basis points right at it, 2 years, Chairman Powell, and your mortgage rates still are high. So it's not affecting those down here. So inflation's still going to be around 3.2. You're not going to get it down. And people don't understand that inflation. So every dollar you got, you're losing 3.2% off the top of it if you go by the standards.
and I go back to just when we were building the jail. Had we built it earlier, we would have saved money because of the cost of inflation, because of the cost of embargo and tariffs and steel and things like that.
Jeff, you were on the board at that time.
So you're never going to get anything cheaper than you're going to get it today.
I watched $6 million go up on that jail from the time I got into it
Right.
time we got finished.
Exactly.
It was like 2.5 years.
And there's Johnson or Davidson, I can't remember the exact same clone of a jail we've got right at it, almost 90 million.
Well,
That shows
And that was during good times.
that's in good times.
Exactly.
That's right.
we didn't know it was
Exactly.
good times, did we?
Right.
Yeah, you never
Who
knew.
knew?
So-
Who knew?
Well, hey, and you're talking about the back boom. That was the bill he introduced. But y'all are doing it, and believe me, all of us, we here include, we want to recruit officers. We want to get them. Yeah, it's dangerous, all that. But you got to do what's best for North Carolina in general. We need a budget. You're right. We need a budget. I know the Highway Patrol, they're probably listening right now. Some of them, I know they need a raise. I know.
Oh, God, yeah.
Now, I don't know as I agree with all of it because I know I'm getting in trouble. If I
Ooh,
don't
careful,
know.
Sheriff. Easy.
I don't want to mess with the
He's
first
getting ready to say
sergeant.
it.
No, I don't mean that bad. Listen, they do it, and they're having as much tough time recruiting. We're in a good place.
Sure.
We're in a good place, but there's not as simple as just every July, which we can depend on getting this budget. Yeah, they're continuing on paid, and most likely it's going to continue. But until y'all get a budget, nobody for sure knows, and that messes with a lot
That's
of
why
stuff. So
That's
that'd
why
be
it's
good.
really important to have this. We really need to hash this out. And
You think it'll
like,
work?
I'm like Jeff. I believe Phil Berger will eventually come back to the bargaining
Well,
table.
Jeff didn't hold no bars. You basically
I think he
said,
will.
Why? Why the purpose of it? And is your
I mean, that's, to me, that's pretty simple politics. I got to have something to show people, but I won't do a budget with my fellow Republicans. Makes no sense at all. There you go.
Yep.
I mean, that's it in a
So
nutshell.
I'm optimistic we're gonna get it done.
Well, it's just like I said, I hate y'all are the ones that it's like children in a bad marriage right now. And y'all happen to be the ones. That's
Mom
what
and
I'm-
dad are fighting.
Yeah.
And you know, you look at it, it's sort of fighting right now. It's not just because everybody. Law enforcement very much supported here in Iredell and across the
Oh,
state.
wonderful.
So it's a good pawn to use. I hate to say it, and I'll give the officers.
He's smart. I ain't saying man's dumb.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you look at where we was at 5 or 6 years ago to where we're at now, and we needed an adjustment, I guess, in general. We said that before on the show, but now it looks like you get to be the bargaining chip sometime. But we understand it, so I respect what you're doing. We've got to have the balanced budget. So, Bill, we
Now,
still ain't got
how long, and this is just a question maybe for me, and I'm sure other listeners, you say we don't have a budget. How long can the state go without a budget?
So
Eternity if people keep working, keep showing up for work.
We continue in North Carolina. We're lucky, unlike the federal government, which shuts down when they
Yes.
don't have a continuing
Yes.
resolution.
That's where I was going with that, yeah.
North Carolina, that we have everything keeps getting funded at the same level. It's just no increases. So there's no teacher pay increases. There's no retiree benefit increases. There's no nothing for anybody. No new projects are supposed to get done. Any of that stuff is supposed to take place until we get a budget.
Okay.
And so
Kind of
that's
Groundhog's Day. Let's
Yeah,
keep
well,
doing the
just
same
just
thing.
trying to educate our new listeners.
Yeah.
So we got about 15 seconds left. Ladies and gentlemen, tune in if you're interested in politics. We're going to talk about Irena's law here shortly. I know these gentlemen had a lot to do with that. So we'll be back in about 2.5, 3 minutes. Thank you for listening today to The Good, the Bad, and the Guilty.
Welcome to the Good, Bad, and Guilty. Hey, halfway through the show, I told y'all. As always, you can follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, radio, AM, FM, and things of that nature. And Bill, that
Am
must
I
be your
making
phone.
noise?
Must be your phone.
It must be.
So I don't want to talk too much, y'all. We was talking, and we started talking in on the back of blue and things of that nature. But I want to get into something that's been important. It's been all over. It's been just leading the headlines everywhere, and that is House Bill 307. I don't want to butcher the name, Irena's law, but I do know it's dealing with the young lady that was murdered. on public
Arinka, I
transit.
think maybe almost.
I've actually,
Arena.
I actually did chat GBT and it sounded out for me, but now I can't remember where I took the picture at. So I wasn't gonna.
I gotta write it down.
But that was something that was tragic to see, and obviously I do think it would have never got what it's got far as to push if it hadn't been for the reporter asking President Trump about it before he boarded.
And
jet.
the fact that it's on video, I mean,
But it never would have got pushed. I mean, this happened 6 days before he was asked, and he goes, "I find out tomorrow." And after that, it went, and the video was released, and everything like that. So, with that being said, do y'all want to explain? I just cannot say enough about what it's done, and I'll start off with this, and just throw it in context out there, and it does give a little bit of irony. But a lot of the things that's included in that bill, targeting career repeat offenders, sort of with the magistrates and judges. And when I say hold them accountable, from my perspective, that's not. I'm just transparent. If you set a bond, I put your name there. It's worthwhile. Targeting 6% of the population who commits 70% of the crime in Iredell has worked great for a decade. So a lot of the same stuff that you adopted in the House bill, stuff that's proven here.
Yeah.
And I'll just leave with ours: 56% reduction and 24% growth in population. And I'll let y'all take it. Or
Well, if
Bill,
I
I'll
could
let
say
y'all
one
take it
thing,
there.
and I know you guys want to talk about it, but I want the public to think about it. Once the story did get some traction, and once it became something, within literally days, I don't mean weeks, months, a year, within days, a bipartisan vote was taken in the House.
Common
Unanimous.
sense. It's common sense.
It's common sense, and that's where I want people to understand. To me, the impact was the really great things that this bill did for law enforcement and for the public, and for public safety, and the really the overwhelming urgency that y'all felt to take it, to pass it, to write it, and get a great piece of legislation out of it. That's what I want to
And
say.
calling
I want to
attention
say
to
thank
their
y'all
past-
for that.
their criminal history.
But I will say this though: out of 48 Democrats, 31 voted no on this bill,
Unbelievable.
and their big line was on the capital punishment, which didn't really bring it back. It just said there could be alternative methods if we ever do, which we should. That's why we have death row. What is it? Overcrowding on the death row is about the biggest oxymoron you can have. You know how?
And we've always said, anytime the benefit of the crime outweighs the risk of the punishment, you're going to have crime. So this soft, and I know that it's not a word that they like to hear, but I'll tell what it is if they're listening. They might even be listening to us. It's a soft on crime approach. Let's take the side of the criminal more than our victims, and that's what's become especially south of.
Well, and it's one of the things that you've always said, and I know our listeners are going to do the eye roll, but listen to what we're saying. It's the criminal justice system, not the victim justice system. And I think this bill starts to maybe move that pendulum a little bit toward society, toward victims, and making sure that, as you say, Sheriff, and it's been one of the things you've harped on, career and repeat offenders. You have 3 or 4, 5% of the population committing 80 to 90% of the crime. Just the sheer money that these people are costing us in housing them, in attorneys' fees, in judges, and all this legalese. That very small percent of the population is costing us, the good, hardworking taxpayers in North Carolina, a tremendous amount of money. To where
And
if you
the
would,
safety of our
to where if you would
Eventually-
exclude them from society and put them in a position or a place where they
Todd,
belong.
Let's talk about what some of the things it does. Is number one, it creates a whole new class of a category called violent offenses, and it's crimes that are exactly what you think when you say violent offenses.
Right.
You know, those are very serious assaults. You know, sexual assaults, things
Rapes, robberies, homicides.
rapes, things of those, and yes, very serious offenses. For those categories that are classified as violent offenses, number one, that if they have prior convictions for a similar offense or another violent offense, then they cannot just be released back out into the population.
Praise the Lord.
They
That's awesome.
At a minimum, have to have and this is at a minimum, GPS tracking, house arrest. That's a step in the right direction, so that at least we would know where these people are at. You know, if for whatever reason the judicial official decides that, hey, we're not going to keep them in the Iredell County Jail in the Crowbar Motel, we're at least going to know where they are, and that's a step in the right direction.
And Todd, I think when you clear, a lot of people say, well, they deserve bond. Yes, absolutely. You know, bond is the purpose of one, appear in court. But the second part, the purpose of bond is protect the community from those committing those kind of crimes. We've advocated for
And
that.
then another thing it does is that if that defendant has been committed in the previous, I think it was 3 years, is that
3
right,
years.
Jeff?
3 years.
Yep.
In the previous 3 years, and they're exhibiting any sign of being
Now, when you say commitment, just for our listeners who may not know, that is a mental commitment.
Yeah.
For some sort of mental issue.
right.
Okay.
Then they have to be reevaluated.
And these are not red flags. These are good common sense. Some people have
Yes.
said red. I want to make sure y'all clarify that, because that's absolutely not what this is. This is true. Somebody's been involuntarily committed, found by a medical professional 3 years prior to.
Correct. And so, that's not going to be a large swath of the population. I mean, that's going to be folks who need to be evaluated. Just think about that. You've committed a prior violent offense. You committed a violent offense today, and you've been committed in the last 3 years. That's not like
It's not somebody you want out in society walking around.
30% of the population there. We're talking a very small percentage of folks, and that needs to be done.
But yet they're out.
But
They're
they
out,
are out
you know,
there.
Yeah, and so we can.
And
Why?
Todd, people's
Why?
asked what the seriousness of crimes. I was sitting there looking at first degree forcible rape, first or second degree murder, statutory rape of a child by an adult, first degree statutory rape of a person who's 15 years or younger, on and on, statutory sexual offense with a child by an adult. These are good
Those
crimes.
are violent offenses.
Violent, dirty crimes.
And those are people we need. As I had somebody say one time when I was on the school board, don't you want your kid? And my kid should be in school. I don't want those people associating with my children.
Exactly.
Those people need to be somewhere else. And yes, there's a presumption of innocence, but this is a person who's been prior convicted of that.
Yep.
They're being recharged with it again today, and they have a history, a mental illness. And so we need to take extra steps with
Absolutely.
those people.
Doing away with this cashless bond. I always say 95% of the time, the reason nobody comes and bonds them out, they don't want them out. Their own family and friends don't want them out of the jail. They know they're dangerous. They're probably going to come and hurt them. And yet, after a week or two, we get tired of looking at you down in the Mecklenburg. What is it? He don't really call it a jail. I forgot.
The residents.
Yeah, residents down there. We're going to let you sign yourself out so that you'll come back for a trial someday. No, nothing.
And you're talking cash
kidding me?
bonds. One thing, and I'll probably get in trouble for saying this, it's just what I observe. If you're a repeat career offender, okay, you go into jail, who wants them out more than anybody? Mostly the defense attorneys, because if you reoffend, you bill the state for money to defend them on the crime. So you're not doing no good if you're in jail. You can't reoffend it. I really don't need an attorney unless I'm buying property, a house, or I guess Stacy's divorced me. Otherwise, I don't think I need it. But I'm not.
Which she would never do.
Yeah, that's right. She don't know where she's got, does she? Anyway,
I'm not saying that.
we're going down the wrong road.
She's already told me she's going to grind up some shrimp for you.
I know, yeah. She's told me that, and bury me and Jeff will know in a chicken pit. She's done found where the chicken pit is up on Beth. So, but that's one thing. I'm glad that y'all listen and we've seen that. But it does make sense. They can't offend if they're in jail and locked up, and this is going to.
Another thing that I like in there that it gives
But we're going to build jail.
Yeah. Let's hold on 1 minute. We got about 15 seconds left. Ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you so much. And Tom, we'll bring that up when we come back. Thank you so much today for listening to The Good, the Bad, and the Guilty. I think it's a very educational show, and we still got more good information to give. So we'll be back in about 2 minutes. Thank y'all for listening today.
Well, we're going back in and ask you on it.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in or remaining tuned in with us today on the Good, the Bad, the Guilty. Been a great show. Got a lot of good information out with our 2 House reps here, Sheriff Campbell. Just kind of honored to be here amongst these gentlemen. But Todd, before we had to go to break, you were fixing to bring up a good point because I know we had talked about it in our commercial. So I'm going to let you pick up right there. And then, Sheriff, I think you want to say something about maybe some magistrates or something at some point in time. So
Yeah, that was one of the things that I was going to bring up was the magistrates. And we've got some really good magistrates.
We do.
And I'll say one of the things that you've done to move that needle in the right direction is putting the names with the bonds and fully disclosing that to folks. The public has a right to know. The public doesn't get to vote for the magistrates.
mm-hmm.
And so in this new bill or the new law that the governor just signed is a provision that will allow for you to remove a magistrate.
Because there was no provision.
There was nothing there before. They just couldn't re-swear them.
Yeah, district court judge was the only thing. So now, actually, newbie can say, you're out of here.
Now it's the chief
justice.
The chief justice can remove them for cause. And so, we don't want people to go on political witch hunts or anything like that. But if you got somebody who's clearly not doing their job and they got 2 more years on their term, you also don't want them holding up a spot for 2 years, just sitting there tied in water.
And I will say, we've got some good ones. I can name, got some good ones. We do. But every now and then you get one of the ones that they know they're untouchable. Well, they want to try a case. Magistrate's office not the place to try a case.
Right.
So I think that was a good provision to put in there. Y'all did a lot of good things.
Accountability. Common sense, accountability.
The public deserves.
Yeah. Everybody needs to make sure that they do their job. We get held accountable every 2 years, if not less.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else needs to be the same.
And you were sort of beating the war drum there for a minute. I'm going to beat it myself just a second. We also gave $10 million to Spencer Merriweather, the elected DA down there in Mecklenburg County. And I hope that's not $10 million worth of new DAs to dismiss the cases faster.
I'm sure.
They've got to have a new culture down there because if you're just dismissing cases one after the other, that just
it's rewarding crime.
It rewards crime. It beats down your victims and it beats down your law enforcement.
Well, I can tell you, sir, and I don't want to interrupt you, but I think it's a good point to make. Sheriff, we have a gentleman that works for us that used to work for the transit police in Charlotte.
Oh, absolutely.
And I spoke with him today. He come to the office and we were asking, and I asked him, I said, how's the morale of the folks you used to work with? And he goes, there is no morale. He goes, dude, I'm telling you, he goes, people are ready to leave because they're tired. And it struck with me knowing what y'all had just done. They're tired of seeing the same people back doing the same thing over and over. And I know, Sheriff, just here in our county, we've read our press releases, and there again for our listeners who may not be familiar, anything that you see from the Iredell County Sheriff's Office in a press release where we give the criminal history, those are convictions. Those are not exactly what this those are not pending charges. Those are not cases that have been dismissed. Those are convictions. And when you look at some of the folks that we arrest out of Mecklenburg County, they may have 4 or 5 convictions, but when you go back and look, it's 15 or 20 dismissed. So,
Todd, you had a point there.
They've just, I hope the people of Mecklenburg County will hold their elected DA to account the same, by that same standard. And I know it's falling on deaf ears.
You know, it's sad. We turn on the news, and everybody here, everybody's listening does. You turn on TV every time. It's nothing even surprising. 1 killed or not, 2 killed or not. I think since this young lady got murdered on transit system up until Trump started threatening the National Guard, which I'll be the first one going on record. They need the National Guard down there. They need something.
I think the National Guard's too scared to go, almost.
Well, probably. Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department does a fine job, but they work for a mayor and a city council.
And they got one arm tied behind their back, and they're blindfolded.
That's right.
I mean, and you can't expect success like that. And so, that's the,
and nobody wants
the
to
only part of that, the bill that really I thought was the extra $10 million. But at the same token, and I'll give them this, if they're saying, hey, we got to have more people to do, so, okay, here you go. You're getting 10 new positions.
Put your money where your mouth is and show us what you're doing with the money.
I'll bet you in 2 years' time, if you went back to see how the money was spent, it just allowed them to dismiss cases.
Everything is mental. And listen, there's a lot of people with mental health problems. I do, but that's part of it. In fact, you got to be crazy to do some of the stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not always. There is evil out here. We see it. It is, and you got to be able.
And all you can do is keep that away from your family.
Well, there's I think 56 district court judges in Mecklenburg County, and only 2 are of a conservative nature that I know of. So let that set in for a little bit.
You know, we
Put that
used to
in.
not see a lot of Mecklenburg crime. The biggest thing that helps, we see it, especially on car break-ins, more sees a lot, is exit ramps off the interstate. Otherwise, the lake sort of isolated us. I hate to say it. I'm so glad, and I hope they don't bring the light rail up into southern Iredell.
Well,
I don't know where that's going, but I'm just saying you can.
We
see-
stopped at Terminus. It has to end in Davison.
Great decision.
Yeah.
Great decision.
We saw that was, that ain't gonna
And
be
for any
nothing.
criminals who are out there listening, we do have a flock system up, and we
Absolutely.
got that. We
Got
use widely in
cameras and-
Iredell. So you're gonna steal a car down in Charlotte, come up here and
We'll catch
break
you.
into some houses, break into some cars. Just know we've got a spot for you in the Iredell County Jail.
And we don't have
Plenty of-
TV. We don't have weights. 2-man lockup.
There's no
It is what it is.
library.
That's right.
It's
No Wi-Fi.
You're not a
Dang.
resident.
Dang,
No
that is hard
iPads.
time.
Yeah.
Dang.
So we
Hey, we don't play.
Imagine that.
so
We don't
think
play.
twice about it before you come up here and do that.
That's right. Hey, I got to say one thing. Jeff and Todd and obviously Vicky Mitchell and Gray, who was there. Y'all have really invested in Iredell. We just got a mobile command unit, which Iredell County had no. If we had a wreck, we had Hurricane Helena, we had anything come through, we have no way to make sure everybody's safe for us, our communications, our organization, a bad fire, anything. We had to depend on Mecklenburg. Okay, if something bad happens, Mecklenburg's going to take care of Mecklenburg. So y'all working with, I got to throw Jason Sane out. Jason Sane was over appropriations at
Yep.
that time. Jason done us a heck of a good job. And former appropriations chair and representative of Lincoln County.
Yep.
But y'all were able to get us an asset of over $1 million for here. And that does not count the remotely operated vehicle, which we've used, not put a diver back in Lake Norman since we've had that piece of equipment. We've covered two drowning
That's a
vehicles.
sonar.
Sonar, that's exactly right.
Cool. That's a cool. Piece
And the
of equipment.
boat. We've actually, now we have, with the boat that General Assembly helped us with, we've been able to move it. Jeffy was one of the first ones I talked to about that. We've been able to move an asset now to Lake Lookout. So we have coverage there and Lake Norman. So if people don't see what you're doing, the way my math works, there's 100 counties in this state. Iredell County paid 1 cent on every dollar. The way my math works now.
Which saves money for the Iredell County taxpayer.
Yeah, so
Well, Helene hits 30 miles east. That thing's wide open.
Yep.
Yep.
Here we are.
Yeah.
but now
that's
we're
what I'm
able to
saying.
keep running. We can run our communications. Highway Patrol, we're going to wire it for Highway Patrol, Statesville City, Mooresville Fire. All the communications will be at our expense.
And that's what we
That
got to
can-
do is be
Absolutely.
proactive about this stuff. We got to
Think ahead.
find solutions before the problem is there.
I hope it never gets any miles on it, but I know it will
Mm-hmm.
because crap's going to happen. It
Absolutely.
always does.
Just like
a
that
lot of-
rook. Just like that rook. I mean,
Used
one
it
time,
yesterday.
saving one person, and that could be a bad guy on the inside.
That's right.
Or certainly if it saves an officer.
And you was
It's
down,
worth
you're,
it.
You're
It's
down
paid
in
for
Mooresville
itself.
where we had it shooting guy 308. That's where we purposely got it, and for what happened when
I mean,
the
he
four
shot
officers-
it like what did he expend, like 40, 50 rounds?
Oh
something
yeah,
like
that's
that?
just downtown Mooresville. Well, not downtown, but right
Langtree.
outside Mooresville, Langtree, on a Saturday morning when everybody's at home,
Yeah.
coming off the heels of our stuff on the 200 some rounds, coming off the heels of the 4 officers being killed in Mecklenburg County. So the rook, if ever, it's basically like a large metal skid steer that's able to block and
Gives you a mobile barricade.
It's bullet resistant.
well, and I'll tell you this, I can't get much to it because the
It's
Fed
a tank.
case, but we participated yesterday, and you actually had a guy here that's wanted out of Europe. He was a person that was wanted on bad charges enough to chase him here in the country. Well, we was able to get him yesterday, and we used the rook to deploy gas because he refused. It was going
And
to be
those are the kind of people we want you to get out of our community.
absolutely.
And so I'm glad you're investing in the equipment to keep our people safe, to keep the officers safe.
Well, and I
That's
appreciate y'all,
forward
Todd.
thinking.
And I'll say this, and I know we got about 2 minutes, but y'all invest. I don't know how much y'all talk to the commissioners and stuff, but for me, it's a lot. Sometimes easier to understand my needs is come to y'all through the General Assembly Appropriations, and that's what other than using drug seizure money. I use a lot of drug seizure money, but you got to build those relationships, and I hope we've had good relationships with y'all, and y'all have definitely sent that back to us. And there again, the Senate with Vicky does a great job. Mitchell, y'all great meals, unbelievable to work with. So we've been blessed by good legislators here.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Real quick, I got to give hats off. Todd, you know who I'm talking about. Our 2 promotions. Jared Church is going to sergeant of our cops unit, coming off our lake patrol. He's going, and
Deputy Zalepka.
oh, good. You're going to tell
Stephen Zalepka.
Yep.
There you go.
Really good young man and 2 really, really sharp folks
officers.
that really know how to give good customer service.
They do.
And I tell you, Zalepka, I had him in rookie school. That is a good young man. Both of his sisters are in law enforcement. I mean, just a good law enforcement, solid
They
family.
could
Family,
upgrade
yep.
if they ever want to. Just not say.
But we're really proud of both of them. I mean, I'm just tickled. Tracy and I were talking about that yesterday. I'm make sure I send
figured
them a
you wanna
letter
get
of
a 2 cents.
congratulations out to them because I'm really proud of them for what they're
And Brian
That's good.
Nichols retired.
Did he
Brian
really?
retired 30 years. He's
Really?
well, a little bit less than that. Oh, he got 20 either way. He gonna spend time, kids playing ball,
Good for
different
him.
stuff. So he's gonna enjoy it. So y'all, we got about a minute and 30 seconds. What have we not spooktacular? Y'all got to come spooktacular,
Yes.
Bill, and I'm gonna let them close out.
Let me go ahead and make a quick announcement for our community members. You talk about building relationships. One of the things that we try to do, in addition to all the other things we do, is have our 5th annual Spooktacular. Last year we had about 8,000 people come around the sheriff's office.
That's a lot of M&Ms.
That's a lot of M&Ms, a lot of candy. So for those of you that are listening, this year we're working with the city of Statesville. The city of Statesville's having their event on Thursday, October the 30th. So are we. So from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock at the Iredell County Sheriff's Office, we will have our 5th annual trunk or treat. We will have canine units on scene for kids to play with, to look at. Our Bearcat, our mobile command center will be there.
As of right
EMS, fire. We have a lot of different community organizations coming to help us this year. So y'all come on out. I know if you ain't down in Raleigh, come on out.
Jeff, y'all close out.
Fantastic.
Well, I
Or whatever
just
you'll
want
say.
to thank y'all for
Absolutely.
allowing me to lay down at night, me and my family, and sleep very peacefully. Do a great
Awesome.
job for me. I know that, and there's been times I've called and said, "Hey, Darren, send somebody out by the house."
We're on it, yeah.
And y'all did, and I appreciate you.
Yeah, same for me. I appreciate it. Appreciate what the deputies doing out there.
And Todd, I'm gonna say you're still a sworn active reserve with me.
I sure am. I got to get my in-service done.
Yeah, you do. That's why I'm bringing it up.
I got to get that done so I can keep that.
Well, thanks, y'all. Thank you. I appreciate everybody joining us. We'll see you back here next Wednesday. Send to a friend. You can listen to us on Facebook all evening long.
YouTube.
And YouTube.
That's a wrap.